Hi there, this is Jerry, and I wanted to just run through the process of running HMS, a promotion relegation regatta with ezRegatta Pro. It really does make it quite a simple process, and hopefully this will give you an idea of how that works, and if you decide to use it for your next promotion relegation regatta, give you some pointers on how to make it a smooth and simple process. So here I have already downloaded from the AMYA a regatta, this standard HMS regatta, which will come down with all of the skippers already included. So if I click on that, we can see that it's got 19 registered skippers. It defaults to a single fleet, but if we want to run this as a standard HMS regatta, meaning using the Model Yachting Association's HMS 2022 specifications. Then we have a preset that does that. Just by clicking here and selecting HMS, we'll be set up as an HMS regatta, and we don't need to actually worry too much about the fleet management button. That will all be taken care of. So let's just quickly look at the list of registered skippers. You can see that the list of skippers has been automatically put into an A fleet and a B fleet for seating purposes. And if you wish to order those skippers by skill level so that you get the same basic level of skipper skills in each fleet, you can do that just by dragging them around. So if I happen to think that Scott Rowland is actually the best skipper in this overall fleet, and then maybe Sean Fiddler is the second, I can move these people around till I'm happy that I have a list that is in rough order of skill level, and that will mean that they get alternately put into the A fleet and the B fleet, and I end up with an overall fleet assignment that is fairly even across the two fleets. So let's assume we have these skippers in the order we want them in. Now I can go to the Racing tab down on the bottom right, and I can see the thing I need to do clearly is to add a race. So let's add a race with this button. Race 1, this will be the seeding race. In standard HMS 2022, there is only one seeding race. You can use more if you wish, and I'll explain how to do that if you need to. So race 1. With the seeding race for HMS, it doesn't matter what order you race them in. You can certainly add 2 races and race both of the A fleet races together and both of the B fleet races together if that's how you'd like to run it. If you wish to know and publicize who is in the A fleet and who is in the B fleet, there is a button on the bottom to view the fleet board, which shows you for each fleet which sail numbers are assigned to each fleet. And if you want to share that, you can share that using standard iOS share. You could post it as a PDF on a WhatsApp group, or you could text it to a text group, or you can send it to a printer. So that's this is the fleet assignments, and I'll maybe go to A fleet. Click on A fleet. If you're running this on an iPad or or on a MacBook, then you would actually be able to see all of that together, the fleets and the races. We'll ignore the timers up here for the moment. That's not critical to the scoring, just an added bonus if you wanted to use a timer. And we have, for the A fleet, we have 10 boats assigned to the A fleet seeding race. And I'll just go ahead and score these by clicking on them in some kind of random order. Once I have them all scored, I can go back to score my B fleet. Race 1 for the B fleet. So now I have my first seeding race completed. Go back to the races. Now I have the option here to finish the seeding stage. If we're running standard HMS 2022, we would finish here. If you want to add another race, that's fine. But I'm going to do this per the standard. So let's finish seeding here. And you'll see a button come up here that says adjust fleet sizes for the next race. This gives you the option of changing the way that ezRegatta automatically assigns skippers to the fleets using the standard promotion, demotion, relegation methods. So in particular for race 2 of a standard HMS, there's an issue that comes up when you only have one seeding race, which is that with an odd number of skippers, depending on the situation, you might end up having the first, second, third, and fourth place finishers from the A, and the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place finisher from the B go into the A fleet automatically. And that can create some issues. It doesn't seem fair that a fifth place finisher would get in from one of the seeding races, but not from the other seeding races. So HMS 2022 has a way of dealing with that, which is implemented in ezRegatta, where it ensures that the fleet sizes are such that it'll be all of the fourth places and all of the fifth places, or none of the fifth places that get into the A fleet. We can see if we just look at that how adjusting the fleet sizes would work. In this case, it's put 8 into the A fleet and 11 into the B fleet. It's chosen 8 because 8 is a multiple of the number of fleets we have too, so we'll have first through fourth from each of the seeding races. You can change this if you wish. If I were to change this to something that you might have been expecting, putting maybe 9 in the A fleet. No, maybe not. Maybe we'll put 7 in the A fleet and 12 in the B fleet. You can do that, but the standard HMS, which will be implemented by ezRegatta, would be to put 8 in the A fleet and 7 in the B fleet. So you can skip that. So now the fleet sizes are all set the way we want them, probably automatically. We can add a race, which will now be our first promotion relegation race number 2. 2 fleets. Again, we can view the fleet board. And here we see we have the extra skippers in B fleet because 4 of them will be promoted to A fleet. Return to the fleets. If I were to try and run the A fleet first, you'd find that although I can see who's in that fleet, it's not going to let me run the A fleet race because obviously I need to run the B fleet race first. So we'll go back to fleets, click on the B fleet, and here we are all set to go. So we'll run the B fleet race, just score these fairly randomly. What you'll see here is that the first 4 skippers to finish are marked in green with a score for this race of 0. And the next person has a score of 13 because that's how promotion relegation will work. I can, if I had somebody that was a no-show or withdrew, I can score all of the remaining skippers up here with did not finish, did not start, or maybe they just decided they'd had enough and went home for the day, so I'll score them as a DNC. Now I can, before obviously you leave the B fleet scores here, you want to make sure you have these promotions correct. So make sure there's no outstanding protests or issues. I could at this point change things. You can drag skippers around and change the order. And if 75 was unfortunate enough to have been protested, I can long click and give him a a DSQ, for example, and then he would appear at the bottom with the DSQ score, and somebody else will be promoted. So hopefully you won't have to deal with all of that, and as soon as you finish scoring, you're all set, everything looks good. So now this button is important. This is where I say, okay, I'm done with B Fleet. It's okay to hard code these promotions and enable scoring of the A Fleet. Now when I go back to the fleets and click the A Fleet, I'll see I'm ready to score, and the extra 4 skippers have been added to the list. So I now have 12 skippers racing in the A Fleet race. So let's just score them. Scoring of DNSs and DNSs per the HMS specification. So a DNF in one of these fleets will be scored 1 more if that's your penalty choice than the maximum fleet size. And the DSQ will be scored as 1 or 2 more than the total competitors in the race. So I'm finished scoring. You can see here now I have 0 unscored skippers in race 2. I've scored 23 boats because 4 of them got scored twice, or technically got finished twice. Their score didn't count. At this point, with all of the races I put in scored, I can go to the regattas tab and click on regatta results and see that I have 2 races scored. I can see the scores from the seeding race in race 3, and I can see the scores from race 2, which is the first promotion relegation, which has the full range of scores. The seeding races stopped at a 9th place, was the highest place we had. Okay, so on to race 3. Back to the racing tab. I can choose here when you're using HMS, particularly on larger fleets, there is a standard HMS fleet size table that you can use if you want to be strictly following the regulations for HMS 2022, and you could click here and decide how you want to do it. Then add a race, continue on, B Fleet. Commit, A Fleet. And if the last skipper here was actually withdrew, then I can score him as a DNC. Basically, that's all there is to it. You can move forward through your regatta, scoring races. When you're done, you can go to the regatta results tab and see a list of skippers. You'll see here we have a 3-way tie, and the first place for Mr. Hill here did not count in the tie breaking because it was the seeding race. That's standard racing rules. So they were ordered based on their best finish, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. And again, I can share this as a PDF, print it, or if you have this on a reel, a real phone that has messaging capabilities, you can send it as a message or save it to your files. And that basically is how everything works for an HMS regatta. There are lots of options. As I said, you can carry on doing multiple seeding races if you wish. You can specify under the fleet management, you can specify the number of fleets that you're going to have. You can specify how throwouts are handled, how the initial fleets are set up. You can randomize it rather than having to sort it in order. and you can also decide how many boats you want to promote and demote. So if you've got any questions, feel free to issue a trouble ticket on the ezRegatta help so that you can get through this little button here on the bottom right. Get more help will take you to a website with the ability to see some more information and issue a trouble ticket or a request for help. So with that, good luck with your regatta, and please get in touch. Let me know how it went.